The children drank first. That's what the survivors remember most. Not the speeches or the gunshots or the helicopters circling overhead like mechanical vultures. They remember watching 900 kids lined up in the Guyanese heat, paper cups in their tiny hands, grape flavor aids staining their lips purple before they collapsed into the red dirt. November 18th, 1978. The day paradise revealed itself to be hell with a smile. But Jim Jones didn't start as a monster. That's the thing about cult leaders, they never do. Back in Indiana in the 1950s, Jones was the kind of preacher who actually lived his sermons. While other white ministers preached love from lily-white pulpits, Jones was adopting Korean War orphans and black children, creating what he called a rainbow family, decades before it was trendy. His People's Temple was the first fully integrated church in Indianapolis. He fed the hungry, housed the homeless, and when local restaurants refused to serve his black parishioners, he organized boycotts that brought them to their knees. The man had a gift, not just for speaking, though Lord knows he could make words dance, but for seeing what people needed most: the lonely, the lost, the forgotten. He collected them like precious stones, polished them with purpose and belonging, made them shine with the kind of hope they'd never felt before. By the early 70s, Jones had moved his operation to California, and the People's Temple was thriving. They ran nursing homes and daycare centers. They bussed members to political rallies and swung elections. Politicians courted Jones like he was royalty. Rosalind Carter posed for pictures with him. He had power, influence, and 1,000 devoted followers who would have walked through fire for him. And here's the thing. Some of them eventually did. The cracks started small, like they always do. Former members whispered about 12-hour meetings and public humiliations. They talked about Jones claiming to be God, about staged healings and forced confessions. But whispers are easy to dismiss when you're drunk on purpose, when you finally belong somewhere that feels like home. So when Jones announced his vision of Jonestown, a socialist paradise carved from the Guyanese jungle where they could live free from American racism and nuclear annihilation, hundreds of his followers saw salvation, not exile. The promised land was a lie wrapped in barbed wire. What they found in Guyana was a prison disguised as a commune, armed guards, confiscated passports, backbreaking labor under a sun that showed no mercy. Jones, once charismatic and focused, had devolved into a paranoid drug addict who rambled through megaphone speeches that lasted all night. He called them white nights, emergency drills where residents would practice revolutionary suicide, drinking what they thought was poison, but was really just punch. Practice makes perfect. The compound had become a pressure cooker, and by November 1978, the lid was rattling. Concerned relatives had contacted Congressman Leo Ryan, a California Democrat known for his hands-on approach to oversight. Ryan decided to see Jonestown for himself. Jones knew an inspection meant exposure, and exposure meant the end of everything. November 18th dawned heavy with humidity and dread. Ryan arrived with a small delegation: journalists, photographers, concerned family members. Jones put on a show, serving them dinner and entertainment, his practiced smile stretched tight across his face. But cracks appeared quickly. A few residents slipped notes to the visitors, desperate pleas to be taken home. As Ryan's group prepared to leave with 14 defectors, Jones made his choice. The attack at the airstrip was swift and brutal. A tractor trailer full of armed guards ambushed the departing planes. Ryan died instantly, 5 bullets tearing through his body. 4 others fell beside him: journalist Don Harris, photographer Greg Robinson, cameraman Bob Brown, and defector Patricia Parks. The jungle swallowed their screams. Back at the compound, Jones gathered his people for one final white night. But this time, the poison was real. The meeting started like the others. Jones's voice crackling through the speakers, talking revolution and dignity and the beauty of death. But something was different. Mothers were holding their babies tighter. Children were crying. "We didn't commit suicide," Jones told them, his voice strangely calm. "We committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world." The cyanide-laced flavor aid came out in metal vats. The children first, held down by their own parents as syringes squirted poison down their throats. The sound they made, that's what haunts the few who live to tell about it. not screaming, just confusion, then silence. The adults followed, some willingly, others forced at gunpoint. Families died together, arms wrapped around each other as convulsions racked their bodies. In 20 minutes, it was over. 918 people dead in the jungle, their bodies twisted in final agony under the indifferent stars. Jones died last, a single gunshot to the head. The investigation that followed revealed the careful orchestration of horror. Tape recordings captured Jones coaching his followers toward death, while his inner circle held them at gunpoint. Survivors spoke of needles and syringes, of people begging to live, of mothers forced to poison their own children before drinking their own cups of death. Jonestown wasn't mass suicide. It was mass murder dressed up in the language of revolution. The bodies lay in the heat for days before authorities could process them. Many were never identified. Children who died nameless in paradise turned prison, their stories buried with their bones. The smell hung in the jungle air for weeks, a testament to how quickly hope can rot in the wrong hands. Today, the compound sits empty, slowly being reclaimed by vines and time. Sometimes locals report hearing voices in the wind, children laughing where children died. But that might just be the jungle talking, the way wild places do when they've seen too much. What remains is the lesson Jim Jones never intended to teach: that the most dangerous monsters are the ones who start as our saviors, who promise us exactly what we need to hear, who make us feel chosen and special and safe right up until the moment they hand us the cup. The children drank first, and in their trust, in their innocence, in the way they looked to the adults who should have protected them, we see the real tragedy of Jonestown. Not just that 900 people died, but that they died believing they were loved.